and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's main event, the Eating Leather Podcast, sanctioned by the Sports Narrative Network. Let's meet the combatants. In this corner, weighing in at a svelte 300 pounds, Brian, the paper champ, Henning. And in this corner, weighing in at 195 pounds, your host and cruiserweight champion of the world, Dynamite Darren Boyd. Yes. Thank you for joining us here for another episode of the Eating Leather Podcast. My name is Jeff Bowers. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is our fight number 3, as we have had fight 1, which went a full 12 rounds. We really hung in there for that one. Fight 2 cut short due to some health concerns. I believe Mr. Boyd was DQ'd due to all kinds of health concerns, but we are back better than ever. Round number 3. How you doing, Mr. Boyd? Oh, I got to unmute you.
Gallbladder removal surgery has been an adjustment, but my stomach is no longer purple and grape, so it's great to be back after a year and a half of medical heck. So we're excited to introduce our guest.
We sure are, and we are happy that you have joined us here. Find us youtube.com/thesportsnarrative. Of course, you can find me, Jeff Bowers, at Sports Narrative, as I run this whole little fun show. And Mr. Boyd, you can, of course, find at dboyd13. And the next guy that we are going to talk to, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are proud to welcome to the Eating Leather Podcast, fighting out of the blue corner, the former WBC, WBO, IBA, light middleweight champion, WBC, UBO, and WBF Intercontinental middleweight champ with a career record of 56 wins, 11 losses, and 1 draw, with 24 coming by way of knockout. The pride of Monroe, Michigan.
34.
34. Sorry, I read it wrong.
Yeah.
34.
So I'm short.
The pride of Monroe, Michigan, the Southpaw, Bronco Superman McKart. What's up, my man?
How you doing?
Man, doing great. Happy to have you on here, man.
Good. Hey, it's an honor to be here. Looking forward to the interview.
For sure.
Well,
Darren?
I'm going to tell you, I've searched around, and like Lou DiBella and Raul Marquez, everyone just speaks so highly of you. So we're so excited that you're able to give us a few minutes here.
Hey, that's great. They're all good people too, man. I love those guys to death. Me and Raul, actually, we had a good fight here, and some years back, both of us were a couple years past our prime when we fought each other, but it ended up at the end of the day being a draw. And Raul will tell you he won the fight, and I'll tell Raul I won the fight. And every time we kind of rib each other about it. And I told him, I said, man, that was one of the easiest fights I ever had in my career. I won 8 to 10 rounds all day long. We laugh and joke about it. But at the end of the day, like I told him one time, I said, I don't care how that fight ended up. At the end of the day, man, it was just a pleasure to share the ring with you and just to build the friendship after that. Raul is a classy guy, love him to death. And I think the world of him.
Yeah, his son is our official prospect. We've interviewed Gio a few times. He's 20.
Oh, yeah.
He carries himself like he's 30, and we have high hopes for him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, he comes from a good bloodline, and his dad knows the business. See, the fight side, that's the easy part. You can train the kid how to fight and all that, but his dad knows the business side, which is going to help his son a lot. So I look forward to seeing the future of what that kid does.
Yeah, for sure. And
well, you have a...
Go ahead, Darren.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Bowers.
I was just going to say, obviously, it inside and out, and the business side has changed quite a bit from the time when you were getting in there and those early 90s, had obviously Don King and all of that, his dominance over the fight game. Just what do you think of the business side of boxing from back then and now?
Well, for me, I've had these conversations, just in general conversations. I've had these quite a bit, Back in the day, the 70s, well, we can go back further, but I'm just going to go my era, the 80, 90 era. we just all fought each other. We didn't try to get, you know, I should get more money. We should get this. I seen this guy on YouTube. He wears a 10.5 shoe. I can't fight him. His gloves are too big. Or yeah, I mean, these guys nowadays all come in there with a million reasons not to fight. When the older generation of fighters, they just wanted to prove their greatness. Like when you look at the one era that everybody's going to talk about, the Hearn, Leonard, Duran, Tamika, Tiger, they all round robin each other. They all fought each other. Nobody's going to come out of that undefeated. It's just impossible, right? So that undefeated record that everybody strives for nowadays, to me, that's a big crock. Greatness. Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Robinson, they're considered 1 and 2 on almost every poll that you take. Look how many losses they had between each other.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the reason they did is because they fought the best of the best in their prime, in their era. They didn't wait for people to get old. They didn't say, okay, listen, I'm going to come in at 210, but you have to come in at 187, and overnight you can't get up bigger than 197. All these rules and regulations about how much you can weigh and all this stuff. It's crazy to a guy like me because, fortunately for me, I came up under James Toney. Right? That's who groomed me, was James Toney.
Yeah.
And he used to always say, and I don't think it was his line, but he would say, the only thing I ever turned down, Bronco, was my bed sheets at night. I don't turn down anybody, And he said, I want you to have the same attitude. So I was that way. Hey, you bring a fight to me, I'm going to take it, And what I see nowadays is kind of from that mental, actual fighter's mindset. I get the business side. I get what they're doing. But from that fighter's mindset, that's why the game started to slow down a little bit. But now all these big fights are happening, and boxing is hot right now.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about it.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to get your prediction on Spence versus Crawford a little bit later on. So we're based out of Dallas, so we're excited for that. I'm trying to get into Derek James's gym because he's training obviously Spence and Anthony Joshua Garcia, Ryan Garcia now, and the Charlo brothers. So hopefully that'll happen. We interviewed him last year, so that's a process in the works. I'm excited if we can roll some tape on that.
For sure. He's doing a great job.
All right, now I got to do a deep dive for you because in our program, we don't do the basic, like, let's go over your box rec and, talk about the big fights. We like the more obscure fights to kind of build the fan base for you and see what you got into. And you gave me a fascinating story about your pro debut and your ring walk entrance. So take it away, sir.
All right, so I came out to jump around by House of Pain. So fast forward from my pro debut, probably about 18 months after that, I'm training out in California in a gym that was run by, actually owned by Mickey Rourke, and Freddie Roach was running at the time. The gym was called the gym was called House of Pain. So we trained out there a lot with James Toney and stuff. And one day, these guys came in, they had House of Pain shirts on, and I walk up to them. I said, "Oh man, House of Pain shirts." I said, "Listen, I love House of Pain." I gave them the whole spiel about how I came out in the pro debut to them and all that. And they're like, "Oh, so you love House of Pain, huh?" And I said, "Yeah." Then it like hit me halfway through the conversation. I said, "You're Danny Boy, and you're Everlast."
Oh,
like, yeah,
man.
I said, "Fellas," I said, "Listen." It took me a second. I said, "I never expected to see you here." So the following day, they brought me a whole bunch of T-shirts and shorts, and and to this day, this was in the early '90s. I still haven't packed away. Because I appreciated it that much. So it was kind of funny to tell them how much I loved them and loved their music and all that, and didn't even know I was talking to them.
Dude, that is awesome. Very awesome. Okay, so we talked about the early days. I have one fascinating note as I was doing some research on this this fun little thing. I ran across your fourth fight against Anthony Collier, who got DQ'd for slapping a ref. What's that about?
Well, yeah. So the fight was kind of getting a little roughhouse, in there anyways. And me and him were kind of like wrestling around, and the referee, Sam, I can't remember his last name. He was a Detroit police officer, though. He was a no-nonsense referee. Mm-hmm. I remember Sam kind of was pushing him back, and he like slapped Sam's hand away, and man, Sam grabbed him by the neck and walked him to the corner and ended up DQing him.
Wow.
It was kind of crazy, but he was that ref that had that kind of respect.
Yeah, man.
A win is a win, no matter what it takes.
hey, listen, I don't care if you fall up the ring stairs and smack your head on the way in. If it goes on my record as a knockout, I'm taking it.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. That's awesome.
All right, I got to hit you up with 3 obscure fights with my own personal stories. All right, I saw you in Tulsa on October 29th in 1993 against what was it, Gerald Reed. That was on the Tommy Morrison bent undercard and James Toney and Tony the Thornton postman, I believe. Yep. I believe I barely got seated. I think you blasted him out in the second round, if I'm correct.
Yep. Yeah. No.
What do you recall about that?
No, I remember that one. Oops.
Oh,
sorry about
there
that.
He goes.
So you start talking about knockout, my phone even goes.
Yeah, he's ducking.
I remember that fight 100%. I remember the whole card. I think the thing I remember most about the card in general is the before the fight happened when Tommy Morrison was fighting. Give me the guy.
Tim Tomaszek.
Who was it?
Tim Tomaszek on ESPN when Mike Williams bailed out. I have an unhealthy obsession with Tommy Morrison. That we did a spectacular show with him.
It's when he was supposed to fight. He was supposed to Michael Bent. That's who it was. Michael Bent.
Yeah.
So Michael Bent at the press conference, I remember before the fight, Michael Bent said, "Tommy, I sure hope you took me serious because if you did not, come Friday night or Saturday, whatever night the fight was, there's going to be a new heavyweight champion of the world." And sure as heck, man, he stopped Tommy Morrison in his hometown. And that was a tune-up fight, right? Because Morrison was supposed to fight Lennox Lewis. And he took Michael Bennett as a tune-up, so to speak. And I was sitting there like, oh, man, this whole thing is crazy to me. But it was just to be a part of that atmosphere. See, that's what James did for me. He put me on a lot of his big undercards. I remember one time with James Toney, he was getting ready to fight in the Pocono Mountains. And ESPN, he was making $1 million something. I don't remember who he was fighting, but he wanted to be on the undercard. And Top Rank ESPN told him we don't have a spot. James said, I'm pulling out then. They said, James, we're paying you like $1 million and a half bucks. He said, I don't care. If you don't put Bronco on the undercard, I'm pulling out.
Wow.
And they said, okay, we'll put him on there, but he's gonna have to fight somebody. So they made me fight this guy named Greg Johnson, who was just 2-0 as a pro, but he was the Pan American Olympic gold medalist, Canadian something other, blah 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 blah.
Right.
So they made me fight him. Yeah. But so I ended up, I won the fight and everything. But it was just the point that James was down for me like that. That guy treated me like a brother, like family, man. And I love that guy to this day because of the way he took care of me.
Man, that's awesome.
Do you still communicate with him?
Yes, I do. Excellent.
That's
Could
awesome.
be a future guest on our show now.
Love him, man.
I was gonna
James
say, yeah,
is my guy, man.
Hook us up, Bronco. That'd be awesome, man. Okay, so another thing.
All right, well.
I was just saying, Darren, I got another
go ahead,
thing.
Jeff. I got 2 more fights left to cover.
Okay,
well, they're obscure.
This is an overall. So this is another thing I found in doing a little research on your career. Man, you have fought in some crazy places. I mean, the Palace at Auburn Hills, obviously a lot of fights there. The Olympic Auditorium in L.A., Tulsa, Connecticut, Toledo, Tunica, Mississippi. Okay, so the first thing I want to ask is, what's the most memorable place you remember fighting? And the second thing I want to ask is, how much does the venue really play a factor in a fight in any fight?
Well, so one of the most memorable places would have been the Blue Horizon in Philly.
Yeah. That's a staple of our USA Tuesday Night Fight hat.
There you go. Every fighter who's a real fighter wanted to fight at the Blue Horizon. So and I went in there and I fought a Philly fighter 2 times in the Blue Horizon. One of them being Glenwood Brown, who was a very top-notch fighter back in the day. So that was obviously a memorable place for me to fight.
Yeah.
Of course, Caesar's Palace, Madison Square Garden, places like that. But the Blue Horizon was kind of special. That was just one of those places I remember watching so many times on TV, thinking, man, I'd love to fight there someday. Just because of it's almost like being in the you're like in the arena, like the Lions and the Christians.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's just you're on top.
A very intimate environment.
Yes, to say the least. So I really enjoyed it there, and they treated me. Oh my God, man, they treated me so well there. I never had a bad experience when I was in Philly.
That's awesome. So when it comes to a venue,
Jeff, I got to get to my last 2 questions.
Go ahead, Darren. You go for it.
We may be running out of time real quick.
You're good.
So, Bronco, I saw Mr. Skipper Kelp back on a Tommy Morrison undercard. in 1992 in Reno, and I fell in love with him because he was action packed. And I believe you blasted him out in round 6 or so. What do you recall of that fight?
I just remember going into that fight and all the fights that I had in my whole career. I was more nervous about that fight than any fight I ever had. I remember being in the hotel room day of the fight. I was dry heaving. Man, I was sick, and I was thinking,
wow.
Yeah, I never had it happen before or after, but that was the night, and I was sitting there going, "Oh my God, I got to get myself together, man. What am I?" So I literally wanted to win that fight so bad because everybody thought Skipper Kelp was just going to blow me out, right? So I wanted to win that fight so bad. I prayed, and I didn't pray to win. I prayed this. I said, God, I just want to make sure my life is right. That if I lose, I want you just to kill me. Just I want to go out on a stretcher. I don't want to lose this fight and have to get on a plane, fly back to Michigan 3.5 hours, and face everybody that thinks I'm going to lose. I'd rather die than lose. I literally called my grandpa when he was still alive at the time, both my uncles, my mom, my sister. I was calling everybody, making peace with them. They're like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I prayed to God. I'd rather die than lose this fight." So I started getting myself to that point. Like, listen, man, you got to go in there. You got to win this fight. So I got the win. And, for me, it was kind of like that moment where people in the boxing world said, hey, this kid's for real. I mean, he just went out here and he beat Skipper Kelp, who, what made me so nervous about that fight, I think, is I used to watch Skipper Kelp all the time fight on TV.
Right?
This guy will hit you with a left hook and it was over. Just, you're going to sleep, right? And I'm thinking, man, this guy's a killer. So I remember my dad saying to me, when I turned pro, he said, you know the guy you're going to have to beat to get where you want to go? And I said, who's that? He said, Skipper Kelp. I said, Skipper Kelp? Whoa. I said, I'm never even going to fight that guy. He's so far beyond me and so far past me, I'm never even going to see that guy. So then when the fight was offered, I took it.
Yeah,
of course. I'll take it. I said, because that's the guy that I have to beat to get where I want to go.
That's amazing.
And for me, as a fighter, I always took the mindset of nothing in my life ever was given to me. Right. Everything that I got in life, I had to go out there and fight for it. And to this day, I just had this conversation today. A guy asked me one time, how big is the chip on your shoulder? I said, as big as my shoulder. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I have to do to get where I have to go. So even to this day, I mean, I'm funny. I like, I love people. I try to get, but deep down, I've got that chip that if you try to stand in my way to get where I have to go, I have to figure out a way to remove you. Right. So that was that fight for me. And once I got that win over him, it kind of started, climbing up the ladder after that.
That's awesome, man. That's
my third and final follow-up question that no one outside of you will get. I grew up in Central Texas, amateur boxing back in the 90s, and the Lerma brothers, Michael and Jaime, were like the biggest thing. And it was not a very vibrant amateur scene whatsoever. And I know you destroyed, what was it? Jeez, yeah, Decision Lerma back in 2001. Super nice guys. I've had a chance to interact with them over the years. What do you recall about that fight? And then I'll turn it over to Jeff.
It was a good fight. I remember I felt like I controlled that fight, all the way through. I outboxed him, but he was a very classy. I remember the thing I remember most about the fight is after the fight, we both walked over to the neutral corner before the decision was even rendered. We got down on our knees, we said a prayer together, and I just remember him. Yeah, I just remember him being a classy guy, and nothing but respect for that guy. He was tough too, man. Man, I was hitting that guy with some really good shots. He took them like nothing. But I think the thing I remember most about him at that time, he had a nutritionist with him. Here I was, drying out, doing everything I can to make weight. And I go down and he's eating sandwiches and drinking, water and doing all this stuff. And I'm thinking, how is this guy eating like this? And I'm over here struggling, And I kept my weight pretty close, but I remember he was a real good eater too.
Wow. Dude, that's awesome. Okay. So,
all right, Jeff, fire away.
Thank you. In a fight like, in any of those big fights, would you rather, when you step out there, would you rather take that big shot early and see if you can take it? He catches you with one and you go, okay, that didn't hurt as bad as I thought, like that left hook, or is it something where you don't even want to know? You'd rather just do your fight, stick to your game plan, and not worry about that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I never, ever wanted to take a shot to see if I could take it. I never. That was never even in my playbook ever. no, I stayed away from that. I tried if I could avoid getting hit, I'm going to avoid to get hit. But when you got hit with the shot, see in that fight with Skipper Kelp, he hit me with the liver. He hit me with the left hook to the liver. He didn't realize it. It was right at the end of the round.
Ooh.
I went back to the corner. And I told my trainer, I said, stand in front of me. He was in front of me. I was going, I was trying my hardest to get my breath. I said, don't let him see me. You know what I mean? Oh, man, I thought if he realized what he hit me when he hit me with that liver shot, if he realized how bad I was hurting, he could have came out the next round or so, hit me right there again. I might have just crawled under the canvas. I don't know.
You're right. Okay,
it was money for sure.
Another point you brought up, and you brought it up early on, talking about, ever since Mayweather, but these guys are always seeking that perfection in their fights, and you lost a fight pretty early on, and what kind of value do you think that gives to a young developmental fighter? What did it teach you?
Oh man, I remember losing that fight, and I remember being in Clayton Williams. That's who it was who I lost to. And I was in the locker room. I had my head down on a table. I was crying. It was on a big card. James Toney was fighting on the card. Roy Jones was fighting on the card. It was a big card out in Las Vegas, and I'm laying in the hotel or the locker room, got my head down. I'm crying. I get this big pat on my back. I look up. It's George Foreman.
Oh wow!
He said, let me tell you something, Bronco. I watched that fight. He said, you have it. He says, someday you're going to be world champion. So right then and there, that changed my direction of my mindset. Right? George Foreman told me I had something. Man. Right. So I remember coming back to Michigan. I'll never forget this. One of my good friends at the time, when we met up, he come up, he gives me a big hug. He said, man, Bronco, he said, you lost that fight out in Vegas. Now what's next? I said, well, what do you mean what's next? He said, well, it's over, right? I said, over?
No.
Yeah. I said, it's just starting now, bro. It's just now starting. Now I lost. I hated how it tasted, right?
Mm-hmm.
I loved how victory tasted, but I guess you never really know how sweet victory is until you taste that defeat, right? Then it's like, oh man, I don't want that taste in my mouth again. So it just gave me a whole nother mindset. And I just went on this crazy grind, this crazy just mindset focus that I'm going to get to that top goal, because I'm never going to have somebody come up and hug me and say, hey, now what's the next step? Now it's over. I said, not till I get to where I want to go. Man. So it helped me get to that next level. It made me never want to feel that feeling again.
So much of the things that you've said so far, it's so much wisdom. It's so many things that, you learn in really all sports. But, you talked about like having that, everything I've got to earn. But also, I'm going to keep striving. If you're going to offer me Spencer, I'm going to take it, right? And you keep striving for that thing. And then just now, just like you said, you don't know how good winning tastes until you lose, right? Until you taste that bitter pill.
Yeah.
So all of those lessons, man, those things that, like I said, that's what sports are about. And it's it's why we do these little podcasts, is because, we love it and we love those lessons. So how does that stuff translate into life after boxing and the transition out of it? Like what's the next step?
It's a perfect scenario, right? Because boxing and life are the same thing. Because in life, just like in boxing, sometimes you're going to taste some defeats, or you're going to get knocked down possibly.
Yep.
So I always tell people, when you get knocked down, there literally is only two choices. You either stay down or you get back up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't really have. There's no in between. There's no A, B, and C. It's A and B. You either stay down or you get up, right? So boxing is so much like life. It gives you all kinds of lessons. It gives you the lesson of, sometimes you're going to get hit. It's going to hurt. Hey, sometimes you get to hit back, right? And sometimes you're going to get knocked down, but you can get back up and you can keep pressing forward. And it's never over until that final bell rings. And when does our final bell ring? Our final bell rings literally when our final bell rings, right? When it's completely over and we have no breath and no life left in us. But every day that we have some kind of breath, some kind of life, God wakes you up in the morning, you got to take advantage of that and do something positive with that. Man. Never look.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? You can't. I don't have that give up attitude. I have that get up attitude. There's a difference.
Oh yeah, man, no doubt. That's great. Darren, you got anything?
Oh, I'm very proud of you, Bronco. You've taken me a whole nother direction, because Jeff and I are very passionate Christians, and as Jeff will tell you one day off the record, I'm the Book of Job with all my health stuff, and it's so great to I'm able to give my testimonies at churches and make people cry, but in a positive way, just like, hey, like you said, pick yourself up. And Jeff saw me when I was near death with my kidney failure, and I still had a smile on my face, but God hasn't taken me home yet. So I didn't know the side of you. This excites me and motivates me because the Holy Spirit's flowing through you.
Amen. Hey, brother, Lord, I'm a Christian too. And, I love the story of Job. Naked I came into this world, naked I leave. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. But blessed be the name of the Lord, right? He would never turn his back on God. That's why God brought him back full circle, never turned his back on him.
Man, that's
how I live by that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, the nickname Superman. How'd you get that?
I don't know where it came from. So what I think happened is when I fought Aaron Davis, he was Aaron Superman Davis, and we were at the weigh-ins, and they said Bronco McKart, Aaron Davis to the scale, and I jumped up really fast, and I said, "Will the real Superman please stand up?" Right. So nice. I was just trying to get to him a little bit because Aaron Davis was no joke, right? So after I won the fight, and I started wearing this Superman stuff, and one day I get up and I see on BoxRec that my alias was Superman. I didn't give it to myself, but I thought, hey, I'll take it. I love it, right? So that's the greatest nickname they could ever give me, so I'll take it. So, because with a name like Bronco, I never thought I needed a nickname.
Obviously.
So, but yeah, I I saw it on BoxRec one day, and I just took it. I rode with it.
Okay, let's ask that question. How do you get the name Bronco?
Now, so Bronco's my real name.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but what's the story?
There was an old time football player named Bronco McKart.
Yes, sir.
My dad loved the name. But I told my dad though, I said, Dad, you messed up because my name is Bronco. The football player is Bronko. I said, Dad, you should have gave me the KO, man. You kidding me?
Yes.
The CO? But so at one point in my career, Bronco McKart's family, because they always talked about it on USA Tuesday Night Fights about how, where my name came from. Right. So his family came to one of my fights, and they brought a bunch of newspaper clippings that they gave me. I interacted with them, took pictures with them, all that kind of stuff. Still have those newspaper clippings put away. But it was kind of neat. I got to meet like his great nephews and nieces and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of a neat thing.
That's awesome. And now I was going to say I thought it'd have something to do with maybe Western Michigan or something like that, but Bronco McKart, that's
Bronco McKart. That's what I'm named after. Yep.
Man, that's awesome. Very cool. Darren?
So what is your post-career looking like? I know you mentioned real estate, and go ahead and we'll give you a shout out and plug your business for you.
Absolutely. So I'm with Coldwell Banker Haynes Real Estate here in Michigan. They're actually based out of Monroe, Michigan. They have an office in Toledo, Ohio. I got in the market like 4 years ago, right at the exact right time when everything was kind of taking off crazy. So I'm on the boxing commission too for the state of Michigan. I've been on there since 2014. So, that's something that keeps me fairly busy. We had the Clarissa Shield fight back in June. We got Alicia Baumgartner fighting next weekend here in Michigan. The 15th, very excited for that. I think she's a superstar. I love that kid, man. She's just a good all around person. So, I stay fairly active. I'm active in my community. A lot of different fundraisers that go on. I stay active in those type of things. Playing a lot of those celebrity golf outings, which I absolutely love.
Nothing wrong with
what's
that.
your handicap?
My swing. Yeah.
Well played, sir. Well played.
My handicap's probably like an 18, to be honest with you. I'm not the best golfer, but I can hold my own against most.
That is a man who will sell you a house right there. And by the way, there's the website, BroncoMcKart.com. You can check that out and go if you're in the market in the Michigan area. And, man, why wouldn't you be, man? Especially this time of year. Michigan's beautiful. So
it is.
See that sun shining behind you.
Yeah,
so.
Bronco, we're coming up to the NFL. We do an NFL podcast for the Miami Dolphins. We're coming up to Detroit for the draft this year. So we'd love to meet face to face. Oh, yeah.
Man, absolutely.
They haven't officially announced the date, but.
Well, you have my number. So when you guys get up to Detroit, give me a holler, and we'll definitely go out. I got some friends up that way. We'll go to one of the restaurants, have some dinner or something, and have a good time.
Perfect. Man, that's perfect. That
Are you a Lions fan?
So to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of any particular team. I'm more of a player fan. I like certain players, right?
Gotcha.
There's just certain guys that I like. Like I loved Matthew Stafford. Thought he was just a go-getter animal, loved to win, had a big heart.
Yeah.
Loved him. Barry Sanders. Hey, everybody loves Barry Sanders.
No
right?
doubt. No doubt.
The greatness.
I mean, so Tom Brady. I'm a Tom Brady guy. So like, see how my shirt's buttoned up to the top right there? So when some guys give me a hard time, say, Bronco, why do you wear your shirt up to the top? I say, that's the Tom Brady style, baby.
Well, I mean,
I'm a big Brady fan.
Jeff is a Jets fan, and like I said, we do a Dolphins podcast. So Tom Brady and I and Jeff, he dominated us for too long. But I do respect you, and hopefully he stays away from the rumors that Jeff sent me about Kim Kardashian. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day.
Who? Brady?
Yeah.
Brady and Kardashian?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
There's some kind of event. Jeff will have to tell you.
Oh,
Please,
yeah.
I know you don't want to hear that.
Oh, if he does that, I might have to turn my back on him for a while.
Hey,
don't do that.
Yes.
Come join the
Turn in your fanboy card.
Come join the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon. It'll be all right. We're gonna have a good time in New York this year.
That's great.
Yeah, man.
That's unbelievable.
Awesome. All right, Bronco. Well, we thank you so much for joining us, man. We'll definitely have you on again. We'll talk some stuff and oh yeah, we did need to get a prediction on the Spence Crawford.
Oh yeah, Spence Crawford.
So I mean, this fight obviously is a coin toss fight, but I think I'm going with Crawford. I'm going with Crawford. Yeah. Now, when people ask me why are you picking Crawford, I always say this: the pre-car wreck Spence, I might not have taken Crawford. I just feel something is not the same with him, and I could be wrong. But one thing about Terrence Crawford that I absolutely love about that guy, man, he is mean in that ring.
Yeah.
He likes to, but he's smart. So I watch his fights and I analyze them, and I notice at a certain point in the fight when he figures out he has you figured out, it's over for you. Yeah. I don't care what you do. So I think at some point in that fight, but I think it's going to be a good barn burner for about 7, 8, 9 rounds. But I feel like at some point in those later rounds, past the 6, 7 rounds, that Crawford's going to take that fight over. And I think I don't know that he's going to stop him. I don't know there's going to be a stoppage in that fight. But I'm picking Crawford. I'm riding with it. If Spence wins, so be it. But I'm riding with Crawford on this one.
Man, I agree.
That is expert analysis on your part. I love it.
It really is.
Even though we're rooting for Spence.
The longer that fight goes, the more that I think Crawford has a really good chance of taking that thing. He'll take him in the deep end. Yep.
That's just it. Normally what I do on these big fights like this, to be honest with you, what I'll do is as the fight gets closer, I'll go back and watch the last 3 fights of each guy. And then I'll analyze that, and then I'll make my predictions. And a lot of times I do all right. Predictions.
Those books.
Well, you need a media career the way you are articulating. Showtime, HBO. Well, HBO is long gone. I'm sorry, Showtime.
I wish one of them guys would contact me. I wish they'd contact me.
We can make it happen.
Yeah.
We got hookups with Barry Tompkins and Al Bernstein. You never know.
Oh, yeah. I reached out to Al Bernstein in the past about it before. I was like, man, Al, you give me a crack on ESPN. I said, you won't be disappointed.
You bring the A game. And Raul, of course, works the Spanish broadcast for Showtime, so we can make things happen for you.
He does a great job.
I think you'd be a gem in the analysis for sure.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man. All right, Bronco. We appreciate you popping on with us. Like I said, we'll definitely be in touch. We'll definitely see you up in Detroit for the draft next year. And, man, you take care of yourself. And, man, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Hey, you as well, gentlemen. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so
Champ,
much.
thanks for your time. I'll be in touch.
All right. Please do. Thank you.
All right. And there he goes.
All right. We got to plug our Lou DiBella event coming up, too, before we hop off.
We absolutely do. We have a big one. Let me pull down this here and get everything back up and running. And we have a little live boxing here in the DFW area as we come to you live from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. As we've got an event on July 29th. What time is that? What's downbeat for that little fun shindig, Darren?
7 p.m. at the Frisco Rough Riders Stadium. It's a minor league baseball stadium. A very unique event. The official card gets announced tomorrow from Lou, so I can't give all the particulars yet until it's official. Yep. But it's a 5 live fight card, and then on the Jumbotron, they're going to show Spence versus Crawford. for free. So it's $35 to get in, 65 for primo seats. And if we're blessed with media credentials, that's even better. Come say hi, and we'll love to meet everybody.
Hopefully we catch some good
I
weather
think it's
here in Texas. It's not 8,000 degrees, but I will tell you, man, that Rough Rider Stadium is so much fun. It's such a small little venue. It's got, looks like the Connecticut, just this kind of nice nice little feel to the stadium. It's very intimate. The snacks are great. And yeah, like I said, right up there in the road, up the road in Frisco, or the city of Bits, and man, it is going to be a blast. So please come out there and join us. If anybody out there sees us, man, come by, say hi. We are happy to interact and talk boxing with you guys anytime. Man, that is going to be so much fun. And then, of course, we got the big fight. Do you agree with Bronco? Do you think Crawford takes him in the deep end and knocks him out?
That is very good analysis on his part, but I'm going to ride and die with Spence. So I think it should be. I'm not going to say it's Hagler Hearns type of, because I don't think either guy is wired that way, but I think it's going to be very very exciting. And you look at the cost of going to the Lou event. If you get $35 seats, if you buy the pay-per-view, I think it's $90. You can go see it. I mean, for 35 and the bleacher seats.
Exactly.
I mean, that's greatness. There's not, like you said, there's not a bad seat in that place.
There really isn't. And like I said, and dude, the drinks and all the snacks and stuff. It's not like Jerry World, man. It's cheap. It's $3-4 to get you a nice beer and all that. And man, it will definitely be a lot of fun. So please come out there and join us for that. Hopefully we will get a chance to talk to the great Lou DiBella. Pop him on here at some point as well. I'm sure there's going to be, an event like that. We might have some of the local boxing celebrities, as we've seen, in this area, man. It's really starting to pop off. You're seeing those Mayweather gyms pop up. Obviously, our boy Derek James in the area as well. It's up and coming in this area.
Yeah, Dallas is becoming a very vibrant boxing mecca these days. So it's very exciting for you and I, for sure.
Yeah, love it. And like I said, happy to be back. Glad you survived all your stuff after a medical stoppage. I had to throw in the towel, Rocky style, on you on that last fight.
Well, at least you threw it in before I died, unlike Apollo Creed. See, so that was good.
I'm a better trainer than that. That's why. So
yes, that's for sure.
We got you stopped. I haven't done zero work on any boxing news, but you got anything else out there that you want to touch on here?
We'll cover that. We're going to start rolling our shows out every Sunday now, and we'll catch up to everything. Of course, have our formal Spence Crawford review with the paper champ, who's ready to come back because he's a Crawford fan. So you're going to see a lot of banter between him and I on the Twitters.
Yeah, that's.
I tried that thread thing. I just don't understand it, so someone will teach me.
I don't know. I don't know if it's got the bandwidth. It doesn't seem like it's going to be good, but by the way,
it kind of annoyed me.
Quick shout out for the YouTube audience. We had a few Getty image pictures of Bronco from some of his old fights that popped up on here. Just want to give that as credit to where credit is due. As you saw those pop on there, and a little him against Travis Sims, I think we showed there.
Hey.
Yeah, a couple of really nice ones. Oh, against Cardona. Cardona 1, I believe, was that one, not Cardona 2. So yeah, good times. All right, Mr. Boyd. Well, thank you so much for joining us here, and I believe it is time that we depart. As with the ring is the bell is rung in the corner, and it is time for us to get ourselves in the corner, get a little water in the take the mouthpiece out, rinse it out. Recover our liver punch that we just took and catch our breath. And that
was a great story. My liver hurts just from thinking about it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, for the great Bronco McKart, and again, find him broncomcart.com if you are in the real estate market. Or, dude, how about a motivational speaker? Man, that guy would be killer at that.
Yeah, that was. Whew.
I think he would be amazing.
I'm still fired up.
Yeah, I think he would be amazing at that. So, for Mr. Darren Boyd, back again. I am Jeff Bowers saying be safe, be well, and a little Union Strong here for the time being, as we will touch base with you again here on the Eating Leather Podcast.